So what are some of the red flags about the divorce process? What should you be looking out for? I think to a large extent, this is one where red flags are come from a place in your gut. So if you have maybe talked to an attorney and maybe you've even hired that person and you just don't like what the advice that you're getting is because it's focused on prolonging the fight and what can you get from the other person, blah blah blah. And whereas you're trying to really focus on what your future can be, listen to those red flags and make sure that you're making wise decisions and that that you're steering what your advice is around yourself to the best way that you can. What are some other red flags for the divorce process? If you go to an attorney and they off the bat after maybe an initial meeting or something ask for a pretty big retainer and don't give you much of a game plan about where you're headed, that might be a red flag because in their mind, not saying it happens all the time, but in their mind, it may just be, this is what I'm going to get paid. I got to do enough stuff to earn that amount that's going to be in the trust account. And then that'll be that. Obviously, that's not always in your best interest. All right. So it may be that you could, get your resolution in some way that doesn't involve $10,000 or $20,000 or whatever the retainer is. So that could be also a red flag if there's just like a request for a big retainer without any sort of game plan about how you're going to get to the end result. Another red flag for going through divorce is focusing on the fight, right? Focusing on getting the other person back, or all their misdeeds about what a horrible person they are, how they cheated, how they screwed you over in this way or that way. While you certainly should process those feelings on your own and deal with those, because there is a lot of anger and frustration through all of that. As part of the divorce, that should not be the focus, because what you need to be focused on is your future and the future of your family so that you can put all this bad stuff behind you rather than making it your constant present. So it's a red flag if anybody, lawyers, family members, whoever, tries to steer you toward focusing on the fight instead of your future. What are some other red flags in regard to how your spouse is approaching the divorce process? Probably one that you should listen to is if your spouse is steering you away from getting advice, right? If your spouse is steering you away from getting a support structure around you, that should be a huge red flag in your mind, and you should act in ways that are supportive of yourself and of your family. So if your spouse is saying, hey, you know what, we don't need lawyers. They're just gonna cost a lot of money and they're gonna steer us the wrong way and they're gonna whatever the excuse is. Yes, lawyers do cost a lot of money. Yes, there are lots of lawyers who will steer you a lot, or in the wrong way. That doesn't mean all of them will, and it's very important for you to get advice that is sound around you and that has your best interests not only at heart, but as part of our ethical philosophy that we have to have your best interests at heart. So definitely, and again, this doesn't even just extend to attorneys. So if your spouse is saying, you know what, don't listen to your mother. Don't listen to your best friend. They don't know what's really important here. Just listen to me. This is how the divorce process should go. Definitely think twice about that, and again, try to find structures around yourself to get the support you need, whether that's family or counseling or lawyers or accountants or whoever, just to give you the advice that you need so that you can make informed decisions, because these are some really big issues, and the choices that you make now are going to have ramifications for years to come.